I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Safety June 3rd meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. We have our unpaid intern, Alexa Kosher, if she would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the last meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Public comment, and because we're taking public comment via Facebook, we will be taking it at the beginning and the end of the meeting. As of right now, I do not believe we have any questions, but I would like to tell you at the Board of Works, at the City Council meeting on Monday, it was neat. We had over 1,000 viewers of our meeting, so engaging the public is key, and it's nice to have everybody involved there. Clerk Treasurer Parthun, claims approval.
Okay, we have payroll for May 29th, 2020 in the amount of $399,175.87.
I move we approve the payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Kosher.
Nope, no question.
Oh, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, and we've got fire fitness payroll for May 22nd, 2020 in the amount of $12,072.72.
I move we approve the fire fitness payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. I appreciate Chief Snyder kind of leading the charge there. I went down and watched, and the guys take it very serious, and I hope the community understands how important it is and how important our firefighters take being in shape to protect their health and wellness. So thank you, Chief Snyder.
You're welcome. Thank you.
They may not be ready for a Jerry Jackson bike ride, but they are in shape.
I think we'll leave that to Jerry.
Tom Casey was ready to go.
He's not moving very well today. All right, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, we've got civil city claims for today's date, June 3rd, 2020, in the amount of $136,463.83.
I move we approve this civil city claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passes 3-0.
We've got sewage claims in the amount of $116,206.07.
Move we approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
And then finally, we've got water claims in the amount of $63,582.28.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I noticed, Clerk Treasurer Parthun, some NSFs. Are those individuals that are checks are bouncing when they're paying their water bill?
Correct, yes.
And then are we charging fees or extra fees?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Any other questions? I guess before I ask, do we allow them to continue to pay checks in the future?
It's our policy right now, if they write 2 NSF checks in a period of, is it 1 year? Then they're no longer allowed to write checks. They've got to pay in cash.
Any other questions?
Courtney, are they able to do a, like a payment online
Most of those.
from a bank account?
Some of those NSFs are actually
Oh,
from
okay.
ACHs as well. So if they've got trouble either by cash or by check or ACH, then we require them just to pay in cash.
I'd also like to add that Clerk Treasurer Parthun has been more than willing to work with people. But again, we can't have these bad checks being written to the city as well. So any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthun.
Thank you.
Department reports. Is there anybody that would like to mention anything that they have on their plate right now?
Mayor Dermody, I would just like to mention that Maxwell Fisher started with the fire department on June 1st. So if the board minutes would refer to that, I would appreciate that. Maxwell Fisher.
Welcome aboard, Max.
Yes.
Chief Snyder, when will he be able to go to Academy, and is Academy still running?
Yes.
We're considering the situation.
I'm sorry. He's doing what's called a mandatory training. It's a beginner level certification as far as the state training is concerned. So that will allow him to be able to be put on a truck until the academy starts. As of right now, the academy in South Bend is looking to start somewhere in August. So we'll be able to bring him on, get some intermediate training with him, and then go in for the full training of the academy in August. At latest, earliest September is what they're looking at.
Great, thank you.
Any other department head information?
As you know, we got the swear in at the end of the meeting today. Those 3 officers will go to pre-basic next week in Tipton County. Once they get back with their 40-hour pre-basic, get their range training here, we're going to put them in FTO, and all of them are enrolled in the academy starting August 3rd at Nylea. They'll be going to Hammond.
And I'd like to take a moment just to thank the police department, the fire department, street department, bringing barricades out at 10 o'clock at night on Sunday morning or Sunday evening, blocking off Highway 35, Highway 39, and Highway 2. We were prepared. We were ready. We had been given information or intel that some of the looters were coming into our community, and we were definitely prepared to deal with it. And I just want to thank all of you, including Nick Otis, who at 9:30 at night comes out to have me sign a executive order calling for a curfew at 10 p.m. So we knew what we were dealing with. So everybody working extremely well on Sunday evening. And again, I just want to say it's deplorable what happened in Minnesota. Poor individual George Floyd. Prayers and thoughts go out to his family, and we fully in LaPorte here support peaceful protest, and we want everybody in our community to feel safe. I believe everyone on our team stands and says the same thing and believes it, but we will not allow looting and damage done to our community. We will stand strong to protect LaPorte. But I think we're in a good position right now, so thank you all. Any other department head report?
Here I do
I'd like
have
to
a
say,
quick report on the park department.
Yes.
We do have the restrooms open for the season. We started that Memorial Day weekend, so want the public to know they are open. We have started construction on a new playground over at Clark Park. People drive by and see the progress going on. Should be completed by the end of this week, we're hoping. And we also have bids out now for tennis court repairs and some additional tennis court work around town, as well as a new kayak launch over on Stone Lake. And we have rebid the Stone Lake Shoreline Improvement. So all those projects are going. And we've had a strong response of volunteers. So we'd just like to let anybody else know as well. We are seeking volunteers to help with park projects this summer. And they can reach out to the park office or reach out to me by email.
Thank you, Mark. And what is that email or phone number?
The phone number is 326-9600, or they can reach out to my email, which was mschreiber, so mschreiber @cityoflaportein.gov.
And we have great park system. And Mark, I just want to add and thank also Steve Leffler. I'll probably get in trouble for this, but we have citizens or individuals that are putting even office chairs next to our trash cans in our park. Come on, people, that's not what this is meant for. Respect our community, respect our parks, and it's not a dumping ground. So if we catch you, we will fine you and address that. We have a special park system, and let's keep it that way.
Yeah, it's punishable by up to $1,000 fine by state's law. So just to let people know not to dump at our trash cans, their home garbage, their refuse, construction waste, and not to use our dumpsters for their personal dumpsters. That is punishable up to a $1,000 fine if caught.
And can we go right to the $1,000 if we wanted to?
That's state law. So that is the permittable fine for dumping.
Great. Any other department head info?
I just want to bring up too, Mr. Mayor, is you gave kudos to us, but know that you were out there with me almost the entire time, constant contact with me, and that shows. The guys talk about it. They're very impressed that we have a proactive mayor, and that says, leaps and bounds about our city, and that's why they want to come work here, and that's huge.
Well, thank you, Chief. I know you were pushing me away. I was getting on your nerves, bugging you the whole night, trying to get in the action, but I appreciate all your efforts and everybody's efforts there. Also, just to know that Jay Jackson, our wastewater, makes his AMA Ask Me Anything debut this afternoon. But Jerry, seemed to get a lot of interest on the grant that you've offered, which is a really cool program for $1,500. Could you give a brief overview for those that may not hear about it this afternoon?
Sure. The city's got combined sewers, and when there's a hard enough rain, there's a potential to back into basements. That's a real problem for the homeowner. It's a real problem for the city. The city's been separating sewers and has an awful long way to go. We got literally $70-80 million worth of work if we're going to separate the whole city. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money that we just don't have. So in the short term, we've got a grant to help people fix their plumbing so that the sewer cannot back into their basement. We've been doing it for quite a number of years, and it's been very successful. Generally, they take all the drains in the basement, the floor drains, the bathroom drains, bring it to a sump pump and pump it out. And that way there's no potential for the sewer to back into basements anymore.
And if people want more information, can you give them email?
Yeah, my email is jjackson@cityoflaportein.gov. The application forms are on the city's website on the wastewater page. It's a pretty simple process. You get your plumber, and we meet with the plumber, look at the basement, see what needs to be done. The plumber quotes, and the city will pay $1,500 toward the work.
Do we, so talking about that separation, and clearly that would be a very long-term project to look at, but do you have sort of a plan on when funds become available to, like, which sections to work on first as far as separation? We may have talked about this before, I just can't remember.
We do. The city, back in 2007, we enlarged our storm basin our combined sewage basin at the treatment plant, and that pretty well eliminated overflow. So the EPA and IDEM are satisfied with that level of combined sewer control. But we still have problems in the collection system. We have basement backups, we have flooding locations. So those are being addressed first, where there are basement backup problems and flooding. And it's driven by the department and the city's effort to fix these problems, not because we have some kind of mandate from EPA or IDEM to push it.
Jerry, how many people do we have take advantage of the grant annually?
Often, it's not a big number, maybe 10 per year. We have the weird situation where a new homeowner comes in and the old homeowner doesn't tell them, hey, there's a problem, and they don't close a valve or take precautions, and they get a backup and contact us, and we say, hey, now you need to we should fix the plumbing so that when you're in Florida on vacation, you don't have to turn some valve or call someone to come over and protect the house. So I get a lot of those. This is an old problem, so people over the years have been taking precautions, and the solutions that I try to promote are ones that don't require any active participation by the property owner to protect the basement. When it rains, they know they're good.
And is that when we do that, is that a pretty long-term fix for the foreseeable future until something bigger can be done?
That house is fixed. They won't have a basement backup anymore. There's still the sewer work that needs to be done so that we don't have a potential backing up sewers or having flooding. The intersection I always throw out is Lawrence and East Jefferson. We did one large sewer separation project upstream of that, and it's much better, but it's not done. It still floods and you might think about Rush Street. Right there at Brighton at the old rubber factory, that floods pretty badly. There's a number of locations we still have to address.
Thank you.
And Jerry, rental owners can also participate, correct?
They can, but we require that the owner contact us, not the renter.
Absolutely, that's the way to do it. As well, people get nervous when it rains, and I just want to assure everybody, and if you don't mind just giving a quick update on Pine Lake, that part of your job is constantly managing the flow of water out of Pine Lake, correct?
That is correct. And lately, constant or management means running that drain full bore every day, 24/7. We've had so much rain that it's just been running in full bore. We were 6 inches above where we normally turn the drain on and control. So it's running continuously now. We share that drain with the golf course, and there's some work there we need to do so that they can freely drain to it without us interrupting the flow from the lake. It hasn't been a problem in the past, but with 4 years of above average rain, there's long periods we need to run that drain every single day, and the golf course, they need it too.
But the water is in good shape, right? I mean,
it is. We're bringing it down, and we'll continue to. And I think we're under control. It's a little higher than I'd like, but we'll get there pretty quick.
Great. Any other department heads? Okay. New business, request for use tour de La Porte. Is that Mike Riley?
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Board. Mike Riley, President of Chamber Services with LEAP. I'm actually here on behalf of the Tour de La Porte Committee and the YMCA of La Porte County. The request is to have road closure for the weekend, or actually the Saturday, August 22nd. At this point, the Tour de La Porte is still focused on maintaining those dates and continuing the run and biking events of that weekend. So I've actually prepared and sent to the city the route maps. This is my first year. I'm trying to fill the shoes of the illustrious Chief Snyder, who's passed the duties to me. So I'm only trying to do as good as he could ever do. So we'll go with that. But basically, the maps outline the exact routes that we're going to need for that day, approximately 6 o'clock in the morning to around 10:30, 11 o'clock that morning. We'll need the roads closed in the city of La Porte. I'm working in conjunction with the county commissioners as well to close the county roads for that day. But I'm just asking for your approval to have the road closures, and we'll work with the city street department to make sure it gets done effectively.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second discussion.
Just all four. I think I've been a participant of the Tour de la Porte for, let's see, is this the 20th year, Mike? I think this is maybe year 20 or maybe this is 21, but
Yeah.
every single year it's a great event. I know that the numbers have over the last several years been over 1,000 people participating. And from going back a few years when I was more involved with the committee, it was certainly hundreds that come from outside of the county and even out of state. So it's a great representation for our community.
It is. I would echo exactly what Mark said and say that it's a great cause, it's a great event, and hopefully it can go through with no restrictions and be very successful again, as it always is.
And the
Yeah, we're hoping.
YMCA will be taking it over this year, correct?
Yeah, so the YMCA is going to take it over from the Healthcare Foundation, who's run it well for that many years. So they're excited. Obviously, they've been hit with the first year of COVID-19, so the process has been sort of pushed back. But we're optimistic that the people will be active and get out and participate in the event. It's going to be promoted. This month was sort of the transitional month to decide truly how we were going to implement it, but I think everything's a go unless something takes a major turn. So we're going to push it forward from here.
And I'd highly recommend our employees to participate if possible. Great health initiative. And Mike, if people are looking to volunteer, how do they do so?
Just get in touch with the YMCA. Just call the main number at the YMCA and they'll take volunteers. Definitely need volunteers for sure. It takes, at least from what I'm understanding, again, this is my first year on the committee, but upwards of 100 plus 120 volunteers I think they're going to need for that day. There's one event, which was a trail run on Friday, that's not going to happen just due to the lack of participation and some of the logistics behind running it. So it's just going to be the Saturday and Sunday events this year.
And that phone number is 219-325-9622, which is the direct number for the Y. So any other discussion?
Oh, just quick, Mike, do you happen to know, is the committee largely I know it changes sort of year over year, but is it largely the same group from prior years?
Yeah, there has been, gosh, I'm getting choked up here. You guys are choking me up. So it has changed slightly due to the switch from the Healthcare Foundation to the YMCA. So there's been some people added, some people that have dropped off. But pretty much there's been a lot of steadfast members that are still participating and making sure that it's a well attended and successful event.
Thanks.
Any other discussion?
We just need to get the City of LaPorte team jerseys going.
Ooh, orange and black, I like it.
I'm in.
Great idea. I like it. I'm in too.
We could have a team race. We got two almost professional bikers with Jerry and Mr. Casey. So I think we'd be in good shape. So, all right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank
Chief
you.
Breton.
Okay, before you see the lengthy resignation letter. I ask that you approve that. He actually finished a shift today and he'll be done at midnight tonight. And he is going to South Bend PD for more money and better retirement. I guess he has put in 7 years there of his 5 years he has left to be eligible.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resignation of Brett Airy.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I just would like to thank Brett Airy for his efforts to keep our community safe here in LaPorte. And we are excited for the opportunity for him, and we wish him well in South Bend. But thank you for your service, and our community appreciates it. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Chief Breton, request to hire.
Yes, I have a couple of requests to hire for Brett Airy's vacancy.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion, just going through with the COVID situation, the reduction in taxes and reduction everywhere else. Clerk Treasurer Parthone, just make sure you're included in the discussion. Comfortable hiring?
Are you asking me right now?
Yes.
Yes, we discussed this, yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Request to promote?
Yeah, since Brett Airy was holding the rank of sergeant, I'm asking to promote a corporal to sergeant and then promote a patrolman to corporal.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Chief Brenton, just briefly, what will this mean? What does this do for that officer that will be promoted?
The sergeant gets 5% over what a corporal gets. And actually, they'll have more responsibility for supervisory. And it moves a patrolman, that's the entry supervisor position. That's also 5% pay raise. I like to add, we're losing a lot of experience with Brett Airy. You hate to see that go, but I certainly understand. But also with that is opportunity for 2 other officers as well.
Chief Bretton, is that based on performance, effort? Is it just not on how long they've been with the department?
Right. We have a testing every 2 years. We'll have another test coming up, promotion test coming up in October of this year. The scores, there's 3 factors. The score is 45% of your test score, whatever you score, longevity, and there's a point for every year up to 20 points. And then our past performance, we go off every 6 months. Every officer is rated, and you go off their last score. You take an average of those last 4, that is up to 36% of the score. So 45, 35, and 20, up to 20. And that's how it's calculated. We have got the scores done. Officers, of course, don't know. They'll be notified tomorrow. And then I will put out a press release to Jessica Bruder for that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0, and we will see you at the end of the meeting for another swearing in. That's great news of an officer. If you want to give us quick information there.
His name is Aaron Stewart. He currently, well, he was working the jail. He's here today. He's 23 years old. He lives in Rolling Prairie. Very excited. This is only a department that he applied for. He wants to work for us because he sees the good that's coming on. I mean, he told me this morning, he says, I met the mayor. That impressed me at the physical agility and everything. And I think that's moving forward. We're going to continue to do things like that. And he's very excited.
Well, we're excited to have him. It was nice to meet him. He has energy, and we've got a great balance of experience, quality, and then new young blood that are ready to go.
Right. It's exciting times for that. It's just trying to get them through these academies. That's the roughest thing right now.
And we're not going to have to spend so much time, as I've said, at 701 Maple Street across from the Y, the complex there, or the compound on Clear Lake Boulevard, as we put notice out to each of them. The drugs, the activity that's going on that we witnessed Sunday night on the compound, it's done. If I could condemn both those homes, I'll do it today, but I know we have a process, but we've had enough of their crap, and things are going to be corrected and not accepted anymore in LaPorte. So I have put the notice on 701 Maple on, I put the owner on notice. We've had 13 police calls in the last week. And then on the compound, you know, we had 3 Sunday night, and that behavior is unacceptable. So they're aware we're coming for them, and people should not have to live in deplorable apartments with potential black mold, like we brought the fire, and thank you, Andy Snyder, for the quick turnaround. We brought the fire inspectors in there, electrical issues, potential black mold, roaches everywhere. It's just not right, and people in our community don't live that way.
And you, Mr. Mayor, got to see that firsthand. One of the calls you went on with me, and you got to see firsthand what we deal with out there. And I believe that was possibly the third time we'd been out there that night.
That night, exactly. And we had
everything else.
We had an ambulance, a fire truck, and 3 different officers there, sets of cars, just dealing with that for the third time that evening. So they know we're coming for them, and nothing can stop that. So if enough is enough.
We appreciate that too.
Thank you, Chief. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Tom Casey, recommendation of maintenance agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. Tom Casey, Director of Development. This pertains to the landscape maintenance for 3 areas: Newport Landing, the Depot, and the Plaza. The current condition of these areas is pretty bad, and there needs to be some pretty extensive cleanup in all 3. As it pertains to the city budget, the Plaza is currently the only thing that we would be covering here. We will be presenting this to the RDC, which is a major portion of the expense. Angela Rose and I together put an RFQ together, and I apologize, I didn't realize how many weeks it takes to go from preparing an RFQ, getting the bids, looking at the bids, then bringing it to Board of Works. So next year we'll be way ahead of the schedule if we need to rebid it next year. And I also want to thank Mark Schreiber and Mike Fraze for kind of covering during this interim with everything that's going on with the virus and just getting these bids in. So what you see in front of you is a summary of 4 bids. My recommendation is to go with Lakeshore Landscaping. Although they're not the lowest bidder, they are the most qualified bidder. And Angela, if you want to add a little bit to that about the qualifications of each bidder, we did meet with each respective contractor on site. JK Seal Coating was discounted quite a bit because they just don't have the crews to handle the weekly maintenance of these sites. And I believe all 3 of these are the face of the city of LaPorte. They can't look the way they look right now. They look like they've not been maintained. We're paying money for it. It needs to be tightened up, and it needs to look spectacular. So that's where we want to get it and have it have an immediate impact on people that are coming into LaPorte. So with that, Angela, if you can add a little bit about the qualifications, you can then make a recommendation.
Angela Rose.
Yeah, sorry, it froze for a second. So one of the interesting things that we found with Lakeshore Landscaping was that they do random drug testing for all employees. They do perform safety training for their employees, and they have certifications that go with that, which I think is in line with the city's values as a safety culture. And then they also e-verify all their employees. So all of them have to be able to work in the United States. So those kind of with a HR background, they have to submit proper identification. It goes through the federal just to make sure that they are able to work or have the proper documentation and things like that, which is a unique thing that this company does. And then they do have extensive experience in the area maintaining not only landscaping, but snow removal for a number of hospitals. And they were the company that designed Unity Park and did that lovely donor pavement area that had all their names and stuff in it. So I think they're a very qualified company. That's all I got.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I just want to say I appreciate Mr. Casey and Angela's passion for the look on these properties, and it is correct. I mean, we've made great strides, but in fact, Newport Landing is being cut this week, beginning today by the street department, and we expect that to look premier spectacular, I think is a great term. And then the same for our plaza. And we do not settle on anything less than that. And I know you will manage this firm to make sure they are doing so.
Thank you, Mayor.
And
Thanks, Anthony.
once Bert Cook fills Newport Landing, which he has been a machine getting all the interest in LaPorte, I'm excited to see there won't be that much grass to cut. Right, Mr. Cook?
That would be correct, Mayor.
Thank you for all your efforts as well. So we do have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Nick Minnick, recommendation for acceptance, Jesse Trail.
This is a recommendation for acceptance. We are closing out the project with NDOT, and this form has us accepting the project, kind of a standard for any of our federal aid projects. And I would recommend approval and signature of this document.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Nick, for the public, can you just tell a little bit about this project briefly?
This is Chessie Trail Phase 1. So this is the portion of Chessie Trail that people can see constructed right now, running from Kiwanis-Teledyne Park up to Truesdell. The section of Chessie also continues down through Newport Landing to Pine Lake Ave. This is the section between Truesdell and Kiwanis-Teledyne Park. Project was completed really back in 2018. Punch list items were addressed last year, and it just takes a little while to get close out on a lot of these federal aid projects. So we're at the point where we're ready to close out the project and move on to the next phase, which is currently under design.
I don't have a question about closing this piece out. Just a quick question. Actually, just somebody asked me recently about that. There is a plan. Part of the phasing is to connect the piece of that, or the walk bike trail that goes along Clear Lake. And I think if I remember, I just actually was out there just this weekend. There's a lot of lumber out there. Is that for building? Is it the bridge that crosses kind of the corner of the lake? And then that will then connect up through, Newport Landing, through that newer section where we've got the medical building going up. That will connect to the Chessie Trail then, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So the Chessie Trail was constructed as part of the initial development at Newport Landing. Healthcare Foundation has generously supported, along with Redevelopment Commission, a connector trail, an additional parking lot and trailhead, and then a boardwalk overlook that is part of the trail. So there'll be a boardwalk across the embankment of the stormwater forebay. So what you actually see in that corner of Clear Lake is a stormwater quality feature that allows for stormwater to be treated and in better condition when it actually gets into the lake. So what we're doing is we're putting a boardwalk across the end of that to create a nice overlook and opportunity to kind of enjoy Clear Lake.
All right,
And I'd just like to add, Nick Minnick is a one-man band right now. We're looking to hire an assistant, which can't come soon enough, but a lot of projects are happening between Flaherty and Collins, and all that is health-related, because we have a fantastic partner in the Healthcare Foundation. So thank you, and the expectation is continuing to drive that. So thank you for all your efforts. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 3-0. Jerry Jackson, basement protection grant applications.
I've just got one today. That second sheet was related to a sewer backup, and that's a different situation. So it's just the one at 1404 J Street. The gentleman was in a hurry and got his plumber out there quickly. So he's the first one from that last big storm we had. It's 1404 J Street. This involves installing a sump pump in the basement to handle all the drains, as I described earlier. The total cost of the job is $2,649.67. LaPorte would pay $1,500. The homeowner would pay the remainder. I'd recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? And again, just as a reminder, Jerry, the city in this grant will not pay for any cleanup from any type of loss of a basement, in the basement of, anything they have down there, only for moving forward.
That is correct. We have two potential situations with sewer backups. One is from a plugged sewer. In that case, we pay for the cleanup. If it's a act of God, a very intense storm, in that case, we do not.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. And I'm going to ask the department heads to stay on because we do have some questions coming up that may need your assistance. So Jerry, should we ignore the next one on 713 Leonard?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll cross that off. Unfinished business. We have Courtney, we've got summer cleanup, spring cleanup that's turned into summer cleanup, correct?
Correct. That's on the week of July 13th.
July 13th through the 17th, so don't put your stuff out now. Please wait till that week. And anything else, check out the farmer's market. Anybody like to comment on that, Angela?
Of course, Mayor. So we had opening day was May 23rd. This weekend will be our third. We're actually going to have a number of new vendors and returning vendors. So we will have Stamper cheese, and they have over 50 different varieties of cheese. I know Mike and Bert both picked some up last week and said it was phenomenal. We will actually have Oak Grove Farms. They're out of Westville. They will have different types of pork and chicken available. So sausage links, ground sausage, pork chops, all of that this weekend. We have Indiana Whiskey Company will be there this weekend selling hand sanitizer. We have Burek's Farms, Paws Vegetables, a number of different local artisans will be there also selling some of their trades. And essential oils, which was really interesting. They do a $5 make and take. We did essential oil bug spray and it worked perfect going fishing this weekend. So a lot of really interesting things. A couple local businesses will be there as well. We just ask that everybody maintain their social distancing, wear a face mask if that makes you comfortable. And I believe next week we'll have a couple people selling face masks again, so people can pick those up there as well. So really excited and looking forward to a great season.
Please start your Saturday out checking that out. I know Courtney Parthune will be there this Saturday. She was telling me about how excited she was. So we look forward to that. Any other business? Any questions from our board members?
Oh, Mayor, with the cleanup, could someone just touch on what things are unable to be put out for pickup, or what types of things can be put out for the summer cleanup?
Absolutely. We can get that information, or Annette Leffler. I'm hoping to put her on the spot.
So you can put out regular household garbage in sealed bags, and they'll take as many bags as you put out. There's no limit on the amount of bags. You can put out household furniture, mattresses, couches. They do not take piles of garbage. They do not take piles of construction materials. They do not take car parts. Any hazardous waste such as cans of oil or oil-based paint or stain. They do not take any of those things. They can be disposed of through the special pickups through the solid waste district. They do not take electronics. There is electronics drop-off at the solid waste district that you can get rid of those. And they do not take anything with Freon in it. But other than that, unlimited amount of bags and furniture. And they will take carpet. The carpet has to be rolled into 3 or 4 foot rolls and tied up in the roll, and they'll pick those up too. that's what I have.
And we will, as I look at Jess Bruder, we'll probably put something out as we get closer on social media of those type of requirements. So thank you. Any other questions? We do have some questions from the public. So I'll read these out from Jess and hopefully we can have answers. Go ahead, Jess. Angela, can you just share again what it costs to participate in the market as a vendor?
Yes, I commented in the links. I'm also including our email address for additional information. It's $25 per Saturday. And if you sign up for the season, it caps off at $250, which includes the Sunflower Fair as well, since the Farmers Market is part of that.
And that's going to be a big time, the Sunflower Fest.
It is.
Which officers will get promoted, but it sounds like we're going to be issuing out.
Dusty Schoaf would like to know which officers are being promoted, and that will be announced tomorrow. So thank you, Dusty.
And then one last one, Christina would like to know how much out-of-pocket cost it is to the homeowner to fix the sewer.
Jerry, I think I could probably answer, but Jerry, the homeowner out-of-pocket cost for the grant, I assume that's depending on whatever bid they receive.
Exactly. It depends a lot on how the plumbing in the house is and how finished the basement is. So the cost can vary pretty widely. The city will spend $1,500 toward whatever that cost is. The homeowner has an opportunity. He says, okay, the project costs this. The city will pay $1,500, and it's my responsibility to pay the rest. And then he can say go, no go.
Thank you. And I just want to remind everybody hearing about this, we have fantastic department heads. And I want to point out, these water issues. Jerry, just share, is it $80 million if we wanted to fix all the problems across the city and separate water and sewer?
It is. That's a little bit of an old estimate. That estimate was produced in the middle 2007 when we did our combined sewer overflow project at the plant. So at that point, we were looking at around $5 million to improve the treatment plant versus 80 to separate all the sewers. We're kind of blessed with the very large sewers. So we were and the treatment plant in a good location. So we're able to manage the CSO question, but we still have a lot of work left to do. So not 80 million, I don't think we'll spend, because we'll hit the problem areas, not every street in the city, but we'll hit a lot of the city over time.
And we are being creative, we are being aggressive, and we will be addressing this. I think we're going to have participation from the public. It's not fun conversations to have with the residents, but it's also not good to see what we've seen when we get a hard rain and everything backs up. And our financials are open to the public. There's no hidden information. We encourage the public to be involved in the process, come up with their ideas. But we have professionals throughout our organization that are going to allow LaPorte to be a special place, which it is now, but compete with the best. As I remind Valparaiso, Michigan City, everybody in our area, we're coming. And LaPorte's going to be the place to live. So we encourage the public interaction as a part of this process, and just saying no is not an option. Any other discussion there? So I'm going to ask department heads, you're free to leave because we have a swearing in here. Mr. Kosher and Ms. Romine, you'll have to stick around so that we can adjourn after we do the swearing in. Thank you for your patience. Anything else? We're all excited to go support Aaron Stewart as he becomes part of the family here, the city of LaPorte. And everybody have a great day. And don't forget to check out Jerry Jackson on his AMA debut this afternoon at 3:00. So thank you. And then Mark and Jessica, we'll be right back to you.
Great.